Good morning or good afternoon, whenever you are watching this video. I am going to provide a quick demo of what this document entails that I have emailed to you about your facility being enrolled in a hospitalizations project with the network for this new measurement period. This first page here is just general information and gives a little bit of a background on why your facility was selected for a project. So, based on data that we received for the measurement period last year, which was May 1st of 2022 to April 30th of 2023, your facility was identified in needing additional support in reducing ESRD hospital admissions. So this document here, this is put together as a test facility, so I can go through and show you a little bit more detail of what each page means, but each document has been personalized to house your facility's goals, data, and data breakdown with the patients and why they were hospitalized. This document will provide, again, your facility level hospitalization data. And I broke it down so that you could see the main causes of hospitalizations in the data sets that we see that we get from CMS. I included a link to a hospitalizations change package where it has some interventions that you can select to implement that may target the main cause of the hospitalization use in your facility, and also a link to develop the first parts of a PDSA cycle where you can track your intervention and the progress. The second page here is pretty important. This is your facility level data breakdown. So again, as I previously mentioned, this was data from last CMS measurement period from May 1st, 2022 to April 30th of 2023. And this is a test facility, so I kind of made up some numbers here. So this test facility, they had 20 ESRD admissions during this time period. And on the left here, the table here and the pie chart it's the same data, it's the same information here, but just a different visualization of it. I know some people like table format, some people like to see it in a pie chart format, so I included both. But what it does is it breaks down the diagnosis category. So CMS looks at each of these categories and they pull from a list of ICD-10 codes in the Medicare Part B claims when a patient is admitted to the hospital. So whatever that admitting provider puts in, if it matches one of these categories, it will get attached to your CCN, and that is how we see it in the data sets that we received. So out of 20 admissions for this test facility, we can see here that 2 were related to blood pressure management. 1 was a vascular related admission, so maybe an access that's stenosed or bleeding. Endocrine related 0, anemia management 0. 5 were related to electrolyte and mineral metabolism, so your hyperkalemias, hypercalcemia, and so on. 10 were fluid balance related, and 2 were infection related. And so then I took that same information and just put it in a pie chart here because it's easy to see in this format that half of the admissions for that time period were related to fluid balance. I broke each facilities down a little bit further so you could see a little bit more specific what those diagnosis codes were. So again, 10 were related to fluid overload, 2 were bloodstream infections, 2 admissions for hypertensive emergency, 5 with hyperkalemia, 1 with an access issue. So yours will look a little bit differently, but this is the idea behind it. Now, the next page will give you your goals and how to track progress of the goals. So in previous years, looking at hospitalizations, we would tell you to stay below a certain rate of hospitalizations, and that's how CMS looks at hospital uses by rate. But we found that that was a bit confusing for facilities, so we're taking a bit of a different approach this measurement period and giving you a TAP of events not to exceed. So this test facility had 20 admissions for this time period. and their goal would be not to exceed 16 admissions for this current period. So this current period started May 1st of 2023. So we're just a couple months into it now, and it will run through April 30th of 2024. So we're still very early into this measurement period, and the goal would be to not exceed 16 admissions. So what we did, how we determined that, is we just took what you had last measurement period here and just subtracted a few to try to meet that goal. Now you can track progress by logging into the facility dashboard. So you get information about that each month when it's updated. That email comes from Brandy Benson, and included your username and password here in this document, just so it would be easier for you to access if it's not already saved on your dashboards. But it pulls up the dashboard where you log in with your username and password, and you can click through the measures. It will include, again, all of the measures that CMS looks at, but you can click easily to the hospitalization measures and see where you're at and compare to where your goal is. The next page is interventions. So what I tried to do, and it's easy to do for some facilities, not so easy to do for others, is look at trends in the data that I broke down. So for this facility, this test facility, 50% of their admissions were related to fluid overload, which tells me that there may likely be an issue related to mistreatments. And so that I took, and I've linked the NCC, that's our National Coordinating Center for all of the ESRD networks. Their hospitalizations change packet is linked here. And I will pull it over so that you can see it. It is a big document, and I don't expect that you read through all of this. So I provided a page range for you to view that would target what I feel like may be your barrier. So you can go to the page, and when you get there, it will give you a list of interventions to try. So all of these are different interventions that you can try to target that barrier. And what you will do from there is, once you select something that you think you can implement at your facility, then you will complete the survey here. Now, some facilities also gave them another option. So the Fish Out of Water, or the Race to Success project, this is actually a project that many other facilities in Network 5 are working on right now. And it's a fun way to address mistreatments in your facility. So if your barrier is believed to be mistreatments, I also included this example in your document as well. There's some instructions here on how to do that. But this has been pretty successful in other facilities as a way to motivate patients to attend treatment. So you may have that option as well. If you don't want to do that, you can certainly look through the change package and select something from that. So moving on back down to the PDSA cycle, the only thing that you will need to submit right now is the first parts of your PDSA cycle. Now, this here is just a guide for you. This is breaking down what will be in the survey link here, which I will show you in just a minute, but this will just guide you. So you will need to complete this survey on or before August 21st. I want to give you ample time to go over this information and this data with your team, figure out your barrier, perform an RCA if necessary, and then come back and complete the form. So form looks like this. I tried to keep it short and sweet. It is your RCA and the plan. So you'll complete a PDSA cycle, but you can't do the DSA part yet. So you're just doing the P. You'll complete this, your facility name, CC, and your name. After reviewing the data from the document and the primary cause of admissions, just give me try to be as detailed as possible and specific, the barriers that you feel are leading to the increase in hospital use. If you performed a root cause analysis, give me some information about that. And then the next is just your plan. So, what do you plan to do? What intervention are you going to implement to target the barrier listed above? Are you using something from the change package? Are you doing the fish out of water project? Just what are you planning to do here? What you hope it produces. So you can put a measurement here. So maybe you have 5 patients that frequently miss treatments and you want to reduce that number to maybe 3 patients that frequently miss treatment. So you can do small goals, baby steps, but what's the outcome you hope to achieve here? And then probably a bulk of it will be steps to execute. So this is where you'll type out what steps exactly are you going to take with this intervention. So include the number of patients that you plan to work with, personalize it to your facility as much as possible. Maybe you're going to do the fish out of water board, for example, and you have an administrative assistant that's very crafty, and they're going to put the board together for you, just to be as specific as possible when you're filling this out. And again, this here is just a guide. So it tells you stuff to include when you're working on the plan. At a later date, when we finished with the cycle, because you'll want a good 90 to 120 days to actually implement this and actually see if it's going to make a difference before you would fill out the next parts of this. And that information will come from me at a later date. And the very last page of the document, I included that list of diagnosis codes that CMS pulls from that claims data. So this is exactly what CMS is looking at. It is a new list. It is different from what we used in the past 2 years. So it's looking more at direct dialysis related admissions versus the old list had some other stuff on there that maybe wasn't directly related to dialysis, and they have removed that. Now, if your facility was in a previous hospitalization cohort and you're already implementing an intervention, I included some additional information in your document about follow-up from the previous intervention. Is it working? Do you need to tweak the process? Do you need to select a different intervention to try? So you will see that information in your document as well. I tried to make this as individualized to each facility as I possibly could. Please let me know if you have any questions about this packet. Please shoot me an email or give me a call. I'll be happy to talk with you. Or if you need to set up a one-on-one Zoom call to go through and maybe brainstorm, talk about some other things with your facility, I'm happy to do that as well. Just let me know.